Hello and welcome to round 8 of the Automobilista Australia Touring Car Championship. We are here at Taruma in Brazil, where Foley leads the championship but has struggled in practice so far at Taruma. We are running the Taruma circuit with the chicane. And those yellow barriers there, you don't want to touch them. Oh, as we Foley shows immediately why they are solid objects. As Scott Morrell is, well, he was literally out in the boonies. But Jaden Draper currently sitting on provisional pole with a 15.8, not a bad lap time. Drivers have slowly found their way, or slowly sort of made their way quicker and quicker around this circuit, and we've got a very tasty, I believe, couple races in store for us this evening. And Jaden Draper currently on pole. Jamie Snow, 15.881 is well, 200th second off, but Gardner, Reese Gardner, Southpaw Racers, many of you may know him as. Well, goes 4/10 up. He's carrying 130 kilograms this week. In previous rounds, he's carried 150 kilograms of success ballast, and he's looking probably the man to beat so far. So should he obviously win both rounds, he's up again in the first bit by pretty much a tenth of a second. But yeah, should he find himself winning both races here with the 130 kilos, he'll probably find himself going back to 150 kilos. So it'll be a bit frustrating for him. But let's see, this is a series aimed towards drivers of the intermediate and lower tier of driver. But he's currently 1/10 up. Bit of sliding going wrong, and yeah, that's cost him 7/10 in his own time, and he's now 6/10 down. So we'll have a look around. Jaden Draper is currently slightly up at his own time. Scott Foley right behind him for company. We've got a decent sized grid here tonight, about 17 drivers, I believe. Continuing on from last night's WEC race, where we had upwards of 20 drivers on the grid, which is absolutely fantastic to see. So, what can Draper do in the middle sector? Obviously, he's returned to racing. Didn't lose too much time to himself. But obviously, compared to Gardner, just 2.5 tenths in that middle sector there. And Foley looks like he's on a decent lap here. It looks like he might improve. Doesn't look like he did, so as Draper did improve. So we'll see that last sector. That last sector obviously is just that final turn, that long left-hand turn. We'll bring that up in onto the when we have the splash screen come up with the championship standings. You'll see it. But yeah, very long left-hander. That it's all about the entry. As Draper up by 1/2 tenth on his own time, and by a little bit less on the pole time. So, lost time in the middle sector last time, so we'll be hoping to rectify it. Middle sector being, obviously, that left-hander he just went through, and this right here. When you go down to third gear, get on the throttle nice and early. It's nice and smooth so far. And he's up 10th on his own time, as Jamie Snow goes to P1. Draper, he's got a little bit sideways. It's going to cost him time, and that's what you don't want to do. You want to be really want to transition from the brake to the throttle very nicely through that final turn if you want to get a good run out and get some lap time in that final sector. Draper does improve by less than a tenth, so he did lose a little bit of time. That's not enough. So he's currently P3, Gardner P2, and Snow in his. Oh, as you see a car off the back there. One of the might have been Matt Williams, I believe. But yes, Jamie Snow in the, well, he has had this car available, but missed the last round and last 2 rounds maybe. But yes, he's now, as you can see, in his new Far Canal Racing Paisley Edition Renault Fluence, and I must say it looks quite good. Now he's half a second down, so we'll cut back to another driver. So Foley has moved himself up to 4th on a 15.9, so that's good for his championship aspirations. Luke Emerton, obviously winner of both races last time out, is currently P5. So both he and Foley currently sporting 120 kilos of KFC chicken nuggets, so they're quite full. And Corey Preston is a newcomer. See, many iRacers out there do know the name. He drives straight into Roadhog pits there. See, Corey Preston, fairly well-known name in iRacing in Australia, obviously driving in the V8 Scott Series. One of the upper echelon drivers in that series. And, but Scott Morrell, he set one of the faster times in practice towards the end there, so obviously he's a little bit frustrated with his own performance so far, I'd imagine, but he's got 1 minute and 15 seconds to rectify that. So we'll just ride on board with him. Oh yes, that is right. I've verified my files and it's got rid of the camera file, so that will have to be rectified. I'll have to rectify that in the next round. My apologies. The greatest run through the chicane there, but how does it compare? Yeah, it's 10th down on his own time, and 10th down on the pole time. So it's obviously middle sector where he's lost it. It was the first sector. Seems pretty competitive, only 1/10 in it for a lot of the drivers. One's a little bit wide there on the grass. I don't want to be doing that. And he's lost the back end, and that's cost him. That's going to ruin his lap, and he's not. I don't think he'll get around to complete another time lap. So that's him done. Josh Anderson, another newcomer, is currently P9 at the moment. Roadhog is struggling quite a bit, but he's one that qualifying isn't so much his game. That's come race time, he seems to just obviously just be nice and consistent, and picks up spots and just always there, finishing in the top 5. But yeah, he'll be hoping to find a couple more spots at least. He's he's up on P1 at the moment. So Jamie Snow's first sector ain't all that flash, but see his middle and final sector. Supreme, just bringing up the timing right now. Jamie Snow again improves. So 15.337 currently for Jamie Snow. Miss Gardner 15.450. Roadhog, and there we go. All that time in the middle sector. He's up pretty much 1/10 of a second, but he's understeered wide there, and that's his lap done and dusted. So go back. We've got Cracker on a lap. Not looking like too good of a lap at the moment. So he finished it. Saying that, he does improve quite a bit. 0.4 of a second. He's now up to 8th. He jumped in front of the big dude. He makes a appearance. Good to see him back. Josh Anderson down to 10th, and Roadhog on his roof. We did miss that. In fact, we'll go back and have a look. So obviously he wasn't too happy with his lap. And he has decided to just bin that Toyota. Yeah, bit of airtime. That's what we like to see when things aren't going too well. Just go for it. Style points right there. Obviously worth a lot more in the race. But we'll see. That is the qualifying session done and dusted. We've got Jamie Snow on pole position. He is sporting less weight this week, and it seems to be paying dividends. So he's on pole position. We've got Reese Gardner, Southpaw racer, in P2, sporting 20 less kilos, and that's certainly helped him quite a bit. Jaden Draper returning to the touring car series after having computer issues for the last couple of weeks. Good to see him back. He's in P3. Got Bretton Foley once again, was nowhere in practice, but P4 in qualifying. Very, very good session for him. Luke Emerton winner last time out, P5, Corey Preston. He'll be a little unhappy with himself, I think, but couldn't quite get a lap together like he could in practice, but still, P5, not bad. Or P6, I should say, as Draper's left. Scott Morrill, P6. Cracker, P7. Big Dog, the Big Dog in P8. Josh Anderson, P9. Roadhog, P10. Gary Neville, 11th. Coulston, 12th. Matt Williams, 13th. Brian Walsh, 13th or 14th. Luke Joyner, 15th. Late Joyner. River Whisper, another newcomer, is in 16th position. And Glenn Miles in 17th with Brendan Ross in 18th. I don't know why he's down there, but he is. Anyway, we will take a short break as I conduct the driver's briefing, but we will be back in approximately 8 minutes' time. Hello and welcome back to round 8 of the Automobilista Australia Touring Car Championship from Taruma, and it is time for the community lap. And this week it's he's volunteered himself, Mr. Reese Gardner, better known as Southpaw Racer. So Reese, how do you find this Taruma circuit?
It is fantastic. I'm a big fan of Taruma, actually. Raced here quite a bit in earlier days on the Razor Sims, so it's been a favourite of my track for quite some time, especially the chicane layout. It's a nice change.
Certainly does throw up a little bit of an interesting mix, but we'll throw to you and you talk us through it.
Yep, up into 5th gear off the start, back into 4th for turn 1. Rear of the car is a little bit nervous. You've got to try and make sure that you keep it within the pavement. Back into 4th for turn 2. Rear end nervous once again. You're just dancing on the throttle. Use as much of the curb as you can, and then down into 2nd for this chicane. Whack it back down to 1st for the left-hander. Get an optimum exit, 2nd gear. Up into 3rd. Now this turn's a bit interesting. You can almost double apex it. On the brakes nice and late. Let the car rotate just slightly, and then back hard on the throttle. You can use a bit more of the exit than I did. That was a bit of a mistake, but whatever. Now, this turn's a little interesting. Flat out through this kink, but once the curb ends, it's down into 2nd. You're just dancing on the throttle once again. Full throttle at the apex and up into 3rd. And then using as much of the pavement as you can, sticking to the inside through this penultimate turn, then widen out the entry, down into 3rd for this banked final turn. Just rotate the rear a little bit and try and make the apex as late as you can. Use as much of the curb as possible on the exit, and that is going to be 1 lap of Taruma chicane. The time is 15.593.
That time would have set you in good stead even for qualifying, so you're looking good so far. Obviously 20 less kilos this week seems to be paying dividends.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I've always been a big fan of Taruma. I've always been a bit quicker here than at other tracks, full stop. So I don't know if the reduced weight has too much to do with it, but it's still very much welcome.
Yeah, so it is a track that if you have done a few laps around, it does certainly help. Especially, I find that the final turn is one that can warrant quite a lot of time if you get it right.
Yeah, certainly. It's that bank turn, you know. It's got a bit of a weird sort of apex setup, that one. It's almost like a late apex, but it's really difficult to get the car on the right line for the exit. But if you do, then you carry that pace all the way to the start-finish line.
Yes, and in these cars, you want to carry speed in there, but it's easy to lose the back end as well. So it's a very fine balance of throttle and brake.
It certainly is.
But once again, Reese, thank you for the time. Thank you for taking us through a lap of Taruma, and good luck tonight.
Thank you very much, and have a good race.
Thank you. So that was a lap of the Taruma circuit, brought to you by Reese Gardner. So we will tick this over shortly. Obviously, we'll just go through a couple things, make sure everybody is good to go, and then we'll tick it over. But yes, obviously, Snow Gardner, obviously on the front row, even though it is a rolling start. But aside from that, the field spread is very, very small here. So I'm expecting and hoping that we get another really fantastic race tonight, or 2 fantastic races. So we'll just take a short break as we get ready to get things going again. Hello and welcome back. It is ticked over once again. Had one or two technical issues with a couple of people dropping out, but I've got them back now, and we're now in the race session as the drivers form up on the grid for the formation lap, and there's no safety car, so I do hope it's a rolling start. But where is the old safety car? Obviously it's not there. We've got a rolling start for some reason. And away we go. And well, there's the safety car, so it was just up the road on the grid. So time to roll through the grid. We've got Jamie Snow, pole position, debuting the Far Canal Renault Paisley Edition on pole position. And Reese Gardner, Southpaw Racer, P2. Jaden Draper, P3, good return for him. Brett Foley, Championship leader, P4. Luke Emerton, race 1, winner both races in the last round, round 7, is in P5. Corey Preston, iRacing via Scott's fame, P6. Scott Murrell, P7. Cracker, P8. The big dude in P9. Joshua Anderson, P10. The Roadhog, P11. Gary Neville, P12. Mike Coulston, Waddy Dog Racing Honda, is in P13. Matt Williams, 14th. Ryan Walsh, 15th. Joyner is, well, he's ahead of where he should be. He's in P16. And the River Whisper in P17. Glenn Miles, P18. And last on the grid, Brendan Ross had some technical issues, but he's back. He's down in P19, and he was looking quick in practice, so look for him to come through the field. So, well, a bit of a gap between first and second there, so Snow gets away. He's going to lead comfortably, but what do we see? Big Dog. So nothing much there at turn 1, or do we have Matt Williams and Mike Coulson going side by side? See Roadhog and Big Dog side by side there. So we get through the first chicane. There's Foley, Preston and Draper battling it out with Luke Everton's dropped down a spot, and Corey he's the one that's taken it. Scott Morrill and Cracker battling it out there side by side. Flashing his lights, Mike Coulson there, I don't know why, but obviously not too happy there. So we've got Jamie Snow in the lead. So Gardner cut that gap down that was there at the start. And he's right behind him now. So Gardner gets a little bit sideways for the final turn. He runs very wide, and it's certainly going to cost him a bit of time. Draper has Foley all over the back of him, but Foley's probably not going to be, he's not going to be fast enough on the straight with that additional weight. He's obviously a bit quicker through the corners. He's got a decent run through turn 1. He's having a look into turn 2. Draper leaves him the space, so he's going to go for it. And he gets it. So championship leader. Nowhere in practice, but he's there when it matters. Good qualifying session and good start to the race so far. Now Luke Emerton's having to hold off Scott Morrill and Cracker. So he sort of dropped a little bit off the back of Corey Preston now, and I think he's looking more in his mirrors than what he's looking forward. So we see Emerton locking up massively. We will see quite a bit of that in that turn. It's very easy to do. see Cracker having a look on the inside of Murrell in the final turn, but Murrell's probably going to have the better exit, and he does as Roadhog runs wide, and that's going to compromise his exit. So you see Big Dog and Neville battling it out for P10. Or, sorry, the Big Dude battling it out for P10 with Gary Neville. And Matt Williams is up 2 spots, so it's an alright start. Luke Joyner up 3. Coulson down 1. Ross up 4, so he's had a nice start. Walsh down 1. Josh Anderson hasn't had a very good start. I wonder if he went off road there. So up at the front, Gardner once again closed on Snow after his mistake at the final. Gardner's mistake at the final turn, so he's clawed it back. So you see, nice shot. The circuit there. To the right, there's the chicane. So these two have broken away. They're 3.5 seconds in front of Brenton Foley. So it looks like it's going to be, for the win anyway, it's going to be between these two this evening. Jamie Snow carrying a bit less weight than his counterpart Reece Gardner. So Gardner's doing a fantastic job with 130 kilograms on board. See, as you heard in the community lap, obviously he's done a bit of racing around this circuit, and he's a big fan of this circuit. And well, you can tell with 130 kilos on board, he's flying at the moment as Snow runs wide. He outbrakes himself a bit in the chicane. It's going to cost him time, but I don't think it'll lose him position. It did lose him time, but not so much to Gardner, but to actually Foley. He cut a couple tenths out of the gap, and off camera, Murrell has moved in front of Jaden Draper and Corey Preston. And Big Dog, Matt Williams, someone's dropped off here, Luke Emerton. So go back and let's see what happens. So Emerton and Murrell. Emerton was battling Draper. Murrell up the inside. What has happened that moved him down the field? So what has he done? Right on board. Oh, so we see Preston got wide. Draper got sideways, and he's tried to go around the outside of Draper at turn 2, and well, that didn't work out for him. And we'll see Roadhog there. He's not had a good run so far, so we'll cut back to live. Oh, as you see, Coulston has got a bit of damage on that car. That front end of that car is not looking good. So I think he's clipped those yellow tyre barriers there, which are solid, and you do not want to hit those. Williams, he's up in the top 10, so he's had a fantastic run so far. He seems to be a trait of his, obviously picking up spots from where he starts. So Snow's built a bit of a gap since we were looking at those replays. Gap's now to 1.4 seconds. And well, Foley sort of maintained the gap to Gardner, so I don't know if Gardner made a mistake as Snow sets a 15.3. That is a very, very quick lap time. 15.6 for Gardner. 16.4 for Foley and a 16.0 for Murrell. Draper a 15.7, 15.9 for Cracker, and Preston a 16.4. So these guys are setting decent lap times, but yeah, it looks like Foley struggling a little bit. He's the cork of the bottle at the moment, it looks like. So Murrell and Draper start to gnaw away at that rear bumper. Let's see, I think that's Cracker in the background there. Along the grass, it's Cracker or Big Dog. With the Big Dog. So we got Roadhog. He's up one spot of where he started, but he could have been much further up, barring a couple of mistakes. And Matt Williams up 5 spots and looking a little bit quicker at the moment than the Big Dog. Although that said, he was 5 tenths slower on that last lap. but on this lap he's 9/10 up on the big dude. Right on board, Morrill. He's got a good run in that final turn. Is he going to be close enough to have a go into turn 1? No, thinks better of it. It does tighten up there. As Foley gets it sideways, it's going to compromise him a bit. Morrill having a go into turn 2. Thinks better of it. Gives Foley the space. Foley goes defensive into the turn 3 chicane. And sort of compromised Morrill a little bit. And now he's got to think about Draper in his mirrors. Ooh, as you see, Preston. He's got a bit of damage on the front of that car. I think he might have clipped the barrier there. Or he's run on... Yeah, I think he's clipped the barrier. Because the front right of that car is not looking good. So back, have a look at this replay right now. Looks like his car's okay here. So I'm thinking that he's clipped one of those yellow tyre bundles. No, he's lost it at turn 2. And off into the boonies, up on the berm. And, well, the front right, he's probably got I don't know if he's got a puncture, but he's certainly got suspension damage on that thing. We're back live now. So that's Big Dog up another spot. Matt Williams up another spot. Roadhog up another vital spot. He needs all the positions he can get so far. And Scott Morrill has found his way past Brenton Foley there into P3 as Morrill now goes defensive to hold off Foley. And he'll be hoping to break away. So both drivers getting track cuts on that previous lap. As Morrill one's a little bit wide, but he can get away with it at this corner. As Gardner touched upon, you can double apex that corner. It's he's all over the place. All at sea there. Outbroke himself, lost the rear end, but he's going to keep that position. For now at least. He should have the top speed over Foley, who does have 120 kilos on board. So whoever ends up in P3 seems to start driving just a little bit more erratically, a little bit more all over the shop, and they can't break away at the moment. But at the front we've got Jamie Snow, 2-second lead at the moment. And then, obviously, the battle for third is, well, it's pretty much between these three, Morrill, Foley and Draper, as Draper has a look on the inside, featuring a bit of tie smoke from Scott Morrill. And, well, they've got a 5.5 second gap over Cracker, so Cracker's done a fairly solid job. He's up 2 spots for AMD Tuning Racing. And the Big Dog, he's up another spot. He's up to P7 now. So Big Dog having a good run. And, Matt Williams, he's sort of dropped off the back a little bit. And he's got Brendan Ross, who started right at the back. He's up 10 spots. As I touched on earlier, he did look very good in practice. So he'll be hoping he can find his way past Matt Williams here. And he could, if he gets on with it, he could press on and possibly give Cracker a good run for his money, should he get past, obviously, Matt Williams and the Big Dude. Behind him, Roadhog. He's there, P10. Struggled so far, but as long as he gets points, they all help towards that championship bid, even though Foley is in front of him, you never know. And looking at timing, Josh Anderson has just retired. Go and have a look. Looks like he's got a bit of front right damage there. So I wonder if he's either had another accident or he's decided that suspension damage. Oh, he's hit the barrier again. He's got damage on both sides, and yeah, looks like he's got a puncture on the other side. So it's really good for him. Got River Whisper and Glenn Miles battling it out for 14th. See, both these guys qualified at the back, and but they're still trundling around. Corey Preston's obviously pitted to repair his damage, or he's kept going and dropped way off the pace. 16th. But River Whisper, the Miles battling it out here. They've circulated. Obviously, Miles up 4 spots and Whisper up 2. Ryan Walsh is up 2 spots. And Luke Emerton is down in 12th, so he's not really made too much of an impression after he's off. 18.9 that last lap, so I don't know if he got held up or made a mistake, but he's after a good first round for him last time out. Obviously, an error earlier on this race has put him all down the field. So, and there it is. So Brendan Ross off camera, as seems to be a bad habit of mine. As he's found his way in front of Matt Williams. He's now up to 8th. As you see, oh, Big Dog, he's off. He's off with the booties. He's up. He's airborne. He's on his roof, and he's all right in front of the leaders. So past Gardner and past No. So that is style points for the Big Dog, and he's smart enough to go back on and rejoin on the right part of the circuit. So that's it's an important thing, because we have heard about other drivers going over that berm in other series and races, and instead of obviously rejoining where they went off, they continued on this part of the circuit where Roadhog is, and they've been given penalties as well as obviously having an accident. It's Draper is in P3 at the moment, so Scott Murrell has made a mistake, and Foley's in P4, Cracker 5, and Scott Murrell has DNF'd. Scott Murrell has DNF, so we'll have a look at the replay. So he's comfortably in front of those two. So just fast forward, and oh, he's hit the tyre bundle. We were talking about that earlier. They are brutal, and oh, Foley got a bit of damage, so Murrell lost his front right wheel. He'll be very upset. Obviously, in a very good position. Looked like he's comfortably easing away from Foley and Draper, and well, now he finds himself out of the race. As we see, oh, Glenn Miles taking out the Petrobras sign, and I don't know if he's got damage, but looks like he is. I don't know if he's got. No, he's DNF'd. So there's another one. Obviously, he's got another yellow flag out for something. It's clear. Oh, we've got Corey Preston. He's around again. Corey Preston around again. He rejoined safely. So Emerton is now starting to make his way up through the field after obviously spates of recent retirements and spins in the last couple of laps. And he's now battling Luke Joyner. You did see a yellow flag pop up there for a moment there. Alright, so we'll just run through the field with 9.5 minutes remaining. So it's been quite attritional so far. And 4 retirements already. So I've got Jamie showing P1 is eased away from Gardner. Obviously, Gardner had to slow down to avoid the Big Dog's Renault. Reese Gardner P2, 3.5 seconds back, but I reckon he might close a little bit towards Snow. Whether he makes a pass or not, probably unlikely, but you never know. He's 11, well, pretty much 12 seconds in front of Foley, so Draper's made a mistake. And we've got Cracker, P4. He's done a great job. Nice, solid job from him. He's up in P4. Kept it clean. And Ross, he's up to P5 after starting at the back. And he's showing some good pace. Ross on that last lap was faster than both Cracker and Foley. So, see both Cracker and Foley doing pretty poor laps. With Foley doing a 19.1, so he's well off the pace there. And I got Matt Williams. He's pretty consistent so far this race. Hasn't made many mistakes, and that's why he's now in P6. Roadhog has now moved his way up to P7 after he has made little mistakes, but none of the big ones that have taken him out or cost him too much time. He's in P7 now. But Jaden Draper, obviously he was in 3rd position for a little while back there, but a mistake from him finds himself way down now in 8th compared to where he was. So he was 14 seconds up the road, where Foley is, but yes, now he's down in P8. We've got Luke Joyner and Luke Emerton battling it out as they go side by side down the pit straight. They're battling for P9 at the moment. Looks like Emerton's going to get it done. And he does. So that is Joyner down to 10th and Emerton up to P9. And they've got the Big Dog behind him. He's currently 11th after that off into... Well, I think I should probably take away that Renault on the side and just call him Air Big Do, because that was some serious airtime that he got. But he's currently P11, so he's kept it going. Brian Walsh, P11. So more Big Dog moves down, so I don't know what's happened there. Maybe just a glitch in timing or a bit of lag, because it does look like Big Dog is lagging just a bit. So hopefully that corrects itself after the next timing screen. Or timing split, I should say. So he's coming up to it. And it does adjust itself. So just a bit of lag there. Brian Walsh, P12. River Whisper just kept it going. He's doesn't look like he's got too much damage or any damage on that Toyota Corolla. He's in P13, and Mike Coulston's kept it going despite that that damage that he sustained. He's in P14, and he is the last of our runners, with Preston having just retired. Glenn Miles, Scott Morrell, Joshua Anderson, and Gary Neville, all the retirements. So I did tout it, so obviously I put the ultimate commentator's curse on this race. Obviously in practice, everybody looking like they're going to have very close lap times, but obviously a couple incidents here and there, and obviously the front two have just bolted, and then obviously the little pack after that for P3 who sort of bolted on the rest of the field. So a little disappointing in some ways, but some drivers have had some very good race. Obviously Snow's looking to take his first win of the series. Obviously Gardner, with his weight not being as severe as what it was last time. So Cracker gets a little bit unsettled on the curb there into turn 1. Obviously Cracker, another one having a fantastic race for him, up 4 spots to P4. Another one of those really consistent drivers. He's always there or thereabouts. Might not be the quickest, but you don't see him make too many mistakes, which or DNFs from him, which is in the end, that's what gets you higher up in championships. And obviously Brendan Ross, he's had a fantastic race, as we see. It's like Draper getting by Roadhog for P7. Looks like they've got Emerton closing in on them. Emerton being he was 0.6 faster than Draper on that last lap, and 1.6 faster than Roadhog. So he'll probably latch onto the back of Roadhog towards the end of this race. That was the closest battle on track, Draper and Roadhog, but barring mistake, it looks like Draper, as he gets it sideways, it's very easy to do into that final turn. Looks like he will probably drive away from Roadhog, and he'll be trying to close down Matt Williams, but that's a bit of a gap with 4 minutes remaining, so that'll probably be about 5 laps. Well, probably 6 laps, including when time expires. Well, actually, Cracker has lost a little bit of time, and Ross has been fairly handy, so he gets it all kinds of sideways on the second part of the chicane there. So he's got the gap down to 1.7 to Cracker in front of him. So the lap times for everybody's sort of dropped off a bit. Obviously, we had a few guys earlier on in the race who were being in the 15s, and obviously as the tyres have worn quite a bit, with obviously long loaded corners, the front tyres do seem to wear out quite a bit, and obviously being front wheel drive, even more so. So the lap times now in the 16s. If you're doing mid to high 16s at this point of the race, you're doing pretty well. But obviously seeing a lot of other runners obviously in the 17s and 18s. So we're just going to stick with this battle, and last lap of 16.4 for Ross. So that was the fastest lap of anybody on that last lap. Not the fastest lap of the race, but the fastest lap of anybody else on track. The next fastest was Luke Emerton with a 16.9. Well, he's right behind Ross. It looks like Foley has made a Foley's made a mistake, and well, he's just in front of him now. So this looks like it might be a three-way battle for a podium. Perhaps Foley's front tyres have perhaps he's leant on them a little bit too much, and he's struggled quite a bit. But yeah, he's lost about a second and a half, what you'd normally expect in the first sector at this stage, and looks like he's understood a little bit through that turn. And Ross, he's got a good exit. He's all over the back of Crack at the moment. Looks like he can put his car where he wants. Down one gear for the final turn. Up on the curb. Probably got on the throttle a little bit too early there. Compromising him a little bit. Shows his nose a little bit, but I don't think he's close enough into turn one. The side's better off it as Cracker a bit harder on the brakes there. 16.9 for Ross. 17.5, so he's having a look into two, thinks better of it. Surprised he didn't keep his foot and have a look into the chicane. Looks like he's taken a better line from the chicane, but obviously not gotten on the power early enough, and Cracker's put a little bit of time on him there. Right on the back of that bumper, giving that AMD sticker a little bit of a workout there. But very conservative as you see Foley run a little bit wide ahead of him, and Ross got a little bit unsettled there, and even though it looked like Cracker a little bit of a bad run through there and was understeering a bit, it obviously was quicker and put a little bit of time on Ross there. But Foley's not getting away here. Obviously he is ahead of his championship rival Roadhog, so it wouldn't matter too much. He's still putting time on second place in the championship, so you do want to maximise all the results you can get, as we've got 10 seconds remaining. So, Brendan Ross gives Cracker a little bit of a tap. Looked like Cracker, I don't know if it was his normal line, but it sort of looked like he went defensive. Oh, Cracker hits the barrier. He hits the tyre barrier and spun him around violently there. And that's it's killed the engine. It did do that. I did that in practice myself. Very easy to do. All you have to do is glance it, and that is a really unfortunate retirement for him. He was looking good. Looking good for a fantastic P4, but obviously just clipping that tyre barrier, and that's ended his race in violent fashion. So can Ross now, can he find himself on the podium? Obviously he's got to close a bit of a gap. He did have to avoid that accident in front of him. So he's got one lap to do. He's got to close in on Foley, and he's got to make his way past. Ooh, a line like that through turn one's not going to help. That said, he still did close a little bit. 30 seconds up the road is Jamie Snow, and he's got lap traffic in front of him, but he's got 11 seconds on Gardner. There's a little bit of a lock up there from Jamie Snow. Just cut back, and yes, going through the chicane here. Ross has closed in, and so Matt Williams has closed in quite a bit too. So it looks like Foley's struggling a bit with the tyres, but we'll just cut to Jamie Snow because he is just about to claim his first victory in the Touring Car Championship. I don't know if it's his first victory at Automobilista Australia, I can't recall, but there it is. There's his first win of the season, and he gives that Farcanel Racing Renault a very good christening. And Reece Gardner, he finds himself a little bit further down. It's still excellent P2 considering he carried 130 kilos on board. But we've got Ross right behind Foley at the final turn. He gives Foley a little bit of a bump. That would have killed his momentum, but Foley's got the weight. Will he hold on? Oh, contact again. And Foley holds on by the skin of his teeth for P3. Ross P4. Matt Williams a fantastic P5. Picked his way through the carnage. And Jaden Draper P6. We've got Emerton and Having a look at Roadhog for P7, but Roadhog held on. Not the best race from Roadhog, but still up 4 spots and still got some vital points. And Luke Joyner, P9, the big dude, after his massive airtime, has kept it going and is P10. Looks like Brian Walsh is up 4 spots from where he started, kept it clean. Looks like no dings on that Ford Focus, and he's going to finish P11. And River Whisper is another one, kept it clean. Avoided the carnage, wasn't quick, but still he finished. And that's P12 for him. And Mike Coulson, another one. The front end of his car's a bit wrecked, but kept it going, and he'll start from pole position in the reverse grid race. So we'll just cut out to that, and well, we see two Farcanel Toyota Corollas doing reverse doughies, and Brendan Ross also joining in, which this is the sole reason why we tune in, is to see these cars, well, get airtime, and for reverse doughies as Matt Williams tests out his roll cage. Alright, so that is race one all said and done, with Jamie Snow winning his first race in the Touring Car Championship. So we'll take a short break as we set the grid for race 2, where Mike Coulston will lead us away from the reverse grid, and we hope to see you there. Welcome back. We are just about to get underway for race 2 of round 8 of the Automobilista Australia Touring Car Championship. So that was a rather frenetic and action-packed race 1, as it looks like River doesn't quite know to get going, as Brian Walsh gets going, and we finally begin the formation lap of race 2 round 8. So Foley held on for P3 by less than half a tenth really over Brendan Ross, and he extended his championship lead over Roadhog, who finished down in 7th place. But we will and sort out the grid for those of you watching at home, as Brian Walsh this is the chicane there. But obviously we have River Whisper, the last of the finishers and first for race 2. Here, we've got Brian Walsh out of position. He's to sort himself out. He's in P2 at the start. We've got the Big Dude after his, Air Big Dude, we shall call him from now on. He starts P3. We've got Luke Joyner in P4. Luke Emerton, P5, is probably the favourite if he can keep it all together. So though, Roadhog in front of his championship rival at the moment. He'll be hoping to keep it there. Have a nice clean race. Jaden Draper is another one that's fairly quick in the first race. Matt Williams, P8, Brendan Ross, P9, Foley, P10. Reece Gardner has missed the start. Jamie Snow, P12, Cracker, Preston, Merle, Miles, and obviously Gardner in the pits. So he does join us, but looks like he's going to start down the field. So side by side, turn 1 there. Oh, the Roadhog has sent Draper sideways, and that's a big crash. That is, that was some silly driving there. 4 wide there, so we'll go and have a look at that on replay. We'll go from hopefully someone behind all the action there, but looks like with Matt Williams and Roadhog and Draper all involved. So Draper up a couple spots, Roadhog up a couple spots, and then Roadhog just Roadhog just a little bit faster, swept across, and he clipped Draper, and he's obviously lost control straight into Walsh. Poor old Matt Williams, nowhere to go. Walsh into the barrier, Draper and Williams collected each other again, and then Morrill and Williams collected again. And so this is shades of Boyani and Cracker also involved. So unfortunately we've seen 4 DNFs at the start. It's not what we like to see. Some over aggressive driving at the start there, and Roadhog is the instigator of all that. He's come out with like no damage. And he'll probably find himself with a post-race penalty, I imagine, because that's ended 3 races. But currently Luke Joyner finds himself in the lead. We've got the Big Dude in P2. And Foley has avoided all that carnage and finds himself up to P3 already. So he's looking to grab solid points. Luke Emerton P4, so he couldn't capitalise off all that and somehow finds himself behind Brent Foley. As all Foley locks up, runs wide, he's in the barrier. He is in the barrier, and there's Ross also in the barrier. So what happened to Ross there? You see, it looked like Ross is already in the barrier on the previous lap, so perhaps he was carrying a bit of damage. But we'll go back, and this is another hectic start to race 2. There's already a bit of contact I hear up there. So Ross just lost it under braking, just like Foley, and there's Ross, another retirement. So Foley retires, so that will have implications on the championship, but there will be a cloud over the top of Roadhog, who did cause that first lap incident, and he gives Edmonton a bit of a nudge there too. Currently, Luke Joyner in the lead. Corey Preston's worked his way up 12 spots. He now finds himself in P2. So the last lap, when we look at replays, he moved up multiple positions in front of Big Dog and Luke Emerton. Roadhog is P5. He's got Jamie Snow. Having a look up the inside into Curva Talalaga as Roadhog gets it sideways, and Snow calmly around the outside, and he'll take P5. Thank you very much, sir. So, 5 retirements already, including championship leader Foley. He did extend his gap, as we see Snow at all kinds of sideways at the final corner of Curva Nova. And we've got a bit of a conga line forming behind Luke Joyner. So Joyner, Preston, the Big Dog, and Emerton. This Roadhog very sideways at turn 1. Somehow made it. Well, he held on to it. It was Preston sideways at 2. And now he's lost out to Big Dog. He's gone up the inside. A bit of a dive bomb there. Gives Joyner a bit of a tap. And now Big Dog and Emerton a bit of biff. And Big Dog giving Emerton a bit of a biff. So some naughty driving going on at the moment. And now that's cost. And then Roadhog again into the back of Big Dog. So a lot of contact we've seen so far. Hopefully the drivers cool it down a bit, otherwise we're going to see another raft of penalties as we saw after round 1 in Goiânia.
Thought I might jump in and give you a hand, Lewis.
And we've been joined by El Chief.
Got Jamie Snow in a good little pack here. Just looking to find his way through. He's had the pace all night and looking at the moment like he's just playing a nice patient game.
Around the outside. Preston around the outside of Luke Joyner. And looks like they're going to go 3 wide down the straight. No, 4 wide because obviously Emerton and Big Dog side by side. We're told to watch overtaking in turn 1, but they're not listening. And Snow loses the back end.
Jamie's around.
He puts his foot back in it and did hit the wall sideways. I wonder if that did damage the suspension. But he might have hit it at the right angle. We do see a bit of smoke and dust up ahead. It's Emerton. And there's more lock brakes up ahead. So we've got 3 cars. We've got Big Dog still battling with Preston there. So Big Dog is not letting Preston get away. And Roadhog just behind him, the instigator of that one incident. We've got River Whisper. He did drop off and didn't have the greatest of starts, but he's still hanging in there. He's just behind this pack, and there's Joshua Anderson. He's not too far behind either, and they've got Snow right behind them.
It doesn't look like Jamie's suffering from any damage here. It's going on board with him now. Doesn't really look like he's got either hand down getting that car to go straight.
And we've seen
the inside here.
We've seen Luke Emerton retire as they go 3 wide in the final turn. Whisper is going to have to give that up. Snow's got the speed. Right on board Anderson. Anderson's got a good run on Whisper. And he will, or he should take that position. As Whisper onto that grey gravel, and he's into the barrier himself. So just for those wondering at home, you do not want to be on the right hand side of that curve into turn 1 there, because it is gravel.
It will catch you out too.
Yes. This is I think Big Dog, I don't know if he clipped the barrier. I think he clipped the barrier.
He's trying to repeat that jump again from race 1.
He's going slowly. I don't know if he's got damage. Did catch the end of it, so didn't quite see. So he's unfortunately dropped back. Luke Joyner.
There might be a tiny dent in the side of that Renault.
Oh, that'll probably. I think one of those dents will probably be from Preston. A few of these guys have exchanged paint quite a bit. They've been racing pretty hard.
There hasn't really been more than about 3 or 4 people that actually listen to the drivers briefing out there. So
Yes, they're quite disappointing. They probably will be soon talking to after this. You see Roadhog go wide and Big Dog into the wall at the final turn, unfortunately. So that's going to drop him down. It's going to give Anderson a good run.
All good news for Jamie here. One less car he has to pass, which means one less chance to get more damage on that car. The fantastic fucking Racing Paisley edition. As we have Roadhog off the track.
Yeah, just mowing the lawn on the exit of turn 1 there. And this group of 3 is closing once again on Joyner, who locks up badly into the chicane, and that's going to block Preston, it's going to block Roadhog, and it's going to get Jamie Snow right back into play. Snow showing his nose into Curva Dolaco as Joyner runs wide, but he should be able to get back on the power a little bit earlier, and he does.
Looks like these guys have been caught out a fair bit by the track we're resetting between sessions, but in race 1 it did look to me as though Luke Joyner had a lot of pace early on, but then dropped off towards the end quite significantly.
I mean, it is a circuit where you can, well, front wheel drive cars we have seen, obviously you can wear the front tyres out very easily, and around this track it's easier still if you look at Jamie Snow's car. Obviously after clipping the barrier there's a massive dint in that right passenger door of his. It's got a good run on Roadhog, but Roadhog's got a good slipstream of the car in front of Preston as Luke Joyner gets it sideways. Cue Tokyo Drift theme. Preston trying to go around the outside at turn 2. Now he's got a good run into the chicane. Locks up. They both lock up in front. Preston hits the barrier. That's going to give him suspension damage. He's done that again, and Roadhog sends it up the inside.
Oh, contact there between Jamie Snow and I can't see the name from the helicopter
Preston.
shot.
It was Preston. He was so close to putting Preston into the barrier there. So Luke Joyner somehow holds on. You'd find if Snow could get away past these guys, he'd be waltzing off into the distance, but he just can't.
A lot of smoke there.
Yeah, very easy to lock a brake, and then the unweighted rear tyre, once it bounces along the ground, locks up as well, or just emits smoke as it skids along the ground. And Big Dog, well, he's not dropped off, he's sort of coming back now. And Scott Murrell, after all his damage, he's hanging on and doing an alright job. He's down in P7 with massive damage to the front end of that thing.
The Big Dog had a lot of, well, not a lot of pace, but very consistent pace throughout that first race until he launched his car in a move that should have copyrighted.
Yep.
There's Murrell, I think it was, getting a little bit sideways through turn 1.
And we've seen Preston drop back a bit. He's now behind Joshua Anderson, who's had a very clean race so far. He avoided all the kind, hasn't been in too many of the battle packs, and he finds himself in a good P4 at the moment. And well, that's pretty much the entirety of the field right there in that shot, aside from Glenn Miles.
Yeah, only 10 people left running from the 18 starters, most of whom were out between turns 1 and 2, I believe.
Yes, we had 3 retirements on the first lap. Oh, Joyner loses it, and Roadhog loses it, and Snow almost loses it, but they all put their foot in the throttle at Curva Talalaga, and they all lived to fight another day, but that was a wild ride for the front 3 runners, and now Joshua Anderson is right behind all 3 of them.
Yeah, Jamie does look as though he's trying to just sort of stay out of it a little bit and wait for these guys' tyres to go off, or wait for them to slow each other down, or what have you, just so he can sort of stay out of trouble and not cop any more damage, but they're making it difficult for him.
You see Joyner and Roadhog battling it hard into turn 1. Similar, obviously, I found myself in a similar position last night in the WEC race where I didn't want to race anybody, but unfortunately, the less I wanted to race people, the more I did, as Joyner locks up badly, and that's going to cost him 2 positions, so tried turning it on Snow.
Yeah, he's turned in quite badly there.
But either way, he's lost his position. Is in the background. The River Whisper cutting the chicane there, having to avoid the tyre bundles.
After the events at Monza, that would have been the last thing Jamie wanted, is to have any contact with Joyner out there.
Yep. See no love lost between those two. But I think now that he's only got Roadhog in front of him, and they've got a little bit of a gap behind, I think you'll find that Snow will probably... This will be the easiest overtake he would have done in this race, I think, if he can get this done.
It looks like he's got a lot more speed coming through here. If he can just line it up, he might be able to get it done before turn 1.
It's certainly a lot quicker through turn 1. He's got the slipstream.
Comes out of it now as they come up to the line.
Yeah, you should get that done. He's completely side by side, which is what we like to see when going for an overtake into such a corner, and he's got that done. So
Roadhog looking back up the inside though.
But
Backed out of it wisely there.
Snow too far ahead and too quick, so he will probably waltz off now. That was probably the easiest overtake he's had, so barring mistake,
He's run a little bit wide there,
which he's just made, but he recovered well, and he's
done the fastest lap on the previous time as well. Sorry, no he hasn't. I was looking at the wrong part of the timer.
So
does have the fastest lap of the race though, by a fair margin.
Obviously the fastest other run, obviously Reece Gardner didn't take the start. So he's having some kind of issue. And obviously he missed the grid and then decided to DNF a lap later. So Snowy's already got a 1.5 second gap.
If he doesn't have any damage from, well, any actual suspension damage or something, he will. Yeah, we were all running very similar setups, and while it did wear through the tyres, it didn't tend to overheat them too badly. So the times did remain relatively consistent for all of us throughout the first race, and with the track dripping up.
Well, and then obviously the closest competition he had in the previous race was Reece Gardner, who's out of this race. So, and with Brenton Foley, another one of the faster runners, also out, I don't think he'll be headed from this point forward. But an interesting thing now is going to be the championship situation. I am going to try and find...
This would be, if Roadhog can hold on to second place, it would be a big advantage to him, with I believe him and Foley are the two fighting it out at the moment, with Dwayne Davies having missed the race tonight with technical difficulties.
So unfortunately, Dwayne once again missing out due to PC issues. Newcomer Josh Anderson doing a good job so far. He's now behind Joyner, but I am trying to find the championship points.
Not sure Jamie does have any damage. He is currently on the fastest first two sectors of the race, coming up to the line now.
And that is a 1:16.3, so that is a pretty quick lap time. Obviously the track isn't as rubbered in as what it was in race 1.
Yeah, almost 1.001 seconds faster than Roadhog on that lap.
Yeah, so the gap is now 2.1 seconds, so I think the battle now is going to be between, for P3, Roadhog looks to be a little bit quite quicker than Luke Joyner. So it'll be interesting to see if Josh Anderson can make his way past, and if well, Big Dog is closing onto the back of those two. And Preston is up and down. He closes in a little bit and then loses time, and now he's got Murrell up the inside, and he turns in on Murrell there. So not the smartest driving there, leaving absolutely no space. The move was on, and unfortunately we've seen a couple of these races have come in just not leaving much space for fellow racers, and but unfortunately we've seen it again there. And I've got River Whisper. He's now not too far behind those guys, so he's doing alright. Looks to have improved his pace from race 1. He's circulating in P8, and Gary Neville is in P9 with Glenn Miles down in P10. So going back to the battle for P3, Luke Joyner looks to have stabilised that gap to Roadhog in front of him, and he's just fending off Anderson, although they both take really narrow, shallow lines into that chicane, which is going to be costing him a heap of time. and I don't think it'd be doing their front tyres too much good, putting so much lock in either. As Joyner runs very wide. He's out on the marbles a little bit.
We've got Peterson and Murrell racing again. Preston, sorry. That's what I get for half paying attention to that and half paying attention to live races because I don't have timing on my screen.
George Peterson.
It's given.
He runs wide there at the Curva do Larco. And looks like Murrell's got that done, but he does lock up a little bit into Talalaga. But he looks like he's got that move done, and Preston is using all the road and more.
Peterson, sorry.
George,
I'm not going to be able to stop calling him that now.
George Peterson. So we've got Anderson looking quite menacing right now. Both of them taking the more optimal line for the chicane, but again, Joyner locks up. He's struggled there all night. Oh, Anderson's given him a bit of a tap there, and that's allowed Big Dude to close right in now. Big Dog having a little bit of a look there inside of Anderson. And Joyner, he would be using up a lot of the front tyres. As he observed in that first race, he's quick in the opening parts of the race, but his tyres fell off, and you can see why there. He's just using so much lock, and obviously locking up doesn't help either, but using up so much lock in these cars is it puts so much stress on the front tyres that it just wears them out. So you want to be smooth, and you want the sort of the back end to do a little bit more of the work and slide around a little bit more, just so it helps the front out a little bit.
Yeah, they're a difficult one to set up because you obviously have to focus on turn-in, so you're not burning through the front tyres by having to put in so much lock. But then at the same time, as soon as you have too much turn-in, the rear wants to come round on you. So you sort of got to plant the rear and speed the front up at the same time without either affecting the other.
Yeah, it's a very, very fine balance. And I actually found around here when I was doing a bit of time trialling that in time trial I was able to run very low amounts of wingers. Ooh, I don't know if I've disappeared or if a couple of other cars have. No, Roadhog's disappeared. Big Dog's there. Luke joined. Oh, so, sorry about that. A couple of cars disappeared, but they've rejoined.
Yeah, you disappeared from my headphones for a second there too. I'm posting a service, so I may actually have just had a typical NBN issue, and hopefully that hasn't affected anyone on the track. It seems to be alright.
So I'll just raise my drink to NBN and their fantastically terrible service. Thank you.
Telstra providing for us as well there.
Oh, and we've got another blink. So Josh Anderson disappears but immediately reappears. Roadhog is behind him. Well, he's ahead of him on the road, but he's behind him. So obviously the timing has sort of messed it up a little bit. It should shake itself out and fix itself once he crosses the start and finish line now, and it does. So Anderson a 10th faster than Joyner on that last lap, but he did lose a bit of time in the final sector, and now Big Dog is looking quite menacing. But yes, what I was saying is that around this track, I found my early running testing you could run with low wing, but you were hanging on quite a bit. And then obviously, just prior to qualifying kicking off, I added a bit of rear wing, but at the same time to obviously have some rear end stability in the faster corners. But I also made changes to the rear tyre pressures to try and make the car oversteer. So it does sound contradictory, but you want some rear grip, but you don't want too much rear grip.
We've had Corey Preston and River Whisper retire from the race as well.
Just having a look at that. Go back on the replay.
While you're looking for that, yeah, I ran the low rear wing settings in race 1 and I was trying a higher wing for race 2, but obviously can't really report on that because it lasted one corner.
Looking at that, looks like River Whisper had just internet issues and completely dropped. I believe Mike Coulston had the same. Well, he had internet issues, but that he is over in Saudi Arabia, so he does have those internet issues from time to time. And Joyner has put a bit of a gap on Anderson and has started to close back in on Roadhog.
Yeah, Roadhog had a massive drop-off with about 7 or 8 minutes to go, I think it was, in race 1. He was right up behind me and comfortably faster, and I was just doing everything I could to keep him behind, and then all of a sudden, I think it was Draper wound up behind us, and those two just fell back.
So the gap between them is currently a second, and there's a second behind, or between Joyner and Anderson as well. So a second sort of covering each one of these cars here from P2 into Big Dog. 1 second intervals between each of those cars.
Got just a minute and a half left in the race now, so I have so little data on my screen. I have one more lap after the one they're about to start,
Yeah, so
which was the worst bit of commentary of the evening.
We'll probably get 21 laps. Will probably be.
There you go. For the last 10 minutes, he's been all by himself, and I'd completely forgotten he was even out there.
See, like race 1, once he sort of dropped Gardner a little bit, he's out by his own. We didn't see much of him because there was a bit going on behind him. This is the case here. So Snow is 11.3 out in front over Roadhog, and Roadhog is currently 9/10 in front of Luke Joyner.
Just looking at the previous lap, and there was no one within a second of Jamie. Actually, sorry, that was Joshua Anderson was the only one within a second of Jamie, but still 7/10 slower.
So I'm just trying to work out the championship standings. Obviously for P2, Roadhog gets 20 points, but in race 1 he obviously dropped a few points from Foley. So the gap between them before this round was 15 points. As Anderson runs wide there, and Big Dog's made a couple of mistakes and has dropped off the back of this crew. The gap between Joyner and Roadhog has come right down now. Only 3/10 of a second as Roadhog runs wide. He has struggled quite a bit keeping his car on the road. There's Joyner himself all over the place in turn 2 there.
Quite a lonely finish to this race for Scott Murrell since Preston, I got it right that time, dropped out of the race.
Well, he acquired a significant amount of damage off the start. One of the cars at the back that was unfortunately caught up in the turn 1-2 incident, but he's kept it going, so he's going to pick up some important points. And the timer has clicked over to quadruple zeros.
Jamie Snow just rounding the final corner now to start his final lap.
He's flashing his lights. It's not over yet, mate. 1 to go. It's a 17.2, which I'm pretty sure would be comfortably faster than just about everybody else at the moment.
Half expecting him to stop and start doing the reverse donuts there, but
Roadhog 6/10 in front of Joyner. Anderson's closed in a little bit now. As once again, Roadhog a little bit wide in turn 1 there, on the exit of turn 1. And Joyner, in fact, has dropped back a little bit. And Anderson has a look, but again, he's just going to compromise his entry into that chicane. He should have just gone wider. As Roadhog runs a little bit wider, it's cost him a little bit of time. Anderson, second part of that chicane, not a bad run, has a look on the inside. The Roadhog's front tyres must be pretty bad because he's a pretty bad run there.
Yeah, very close now. Not really, I don't think that Joyner's quite close enough behind him, but a small, big mistake there from Joyner.
He's run wide, but he's got on the throttle early enough that he's going to hold on unless he makes a mistake in the final turn here. But he's got a good run on Roadhog. He's having a look. He brakes early. But that's going to compromise his exit. Unfortunately, we have seen Jamie Snow take the win, but we are watching this battle, and it looks Joyner goes defensive early. He's moved twice. He's forcing Anderson on the grass there, and he's just going to hold on. So a little bit dirty, but he does hold on there. So Anderson didn't have the greatest race one there, but obviously race 2 there. Fantastic racing. But Jamie Snow on our screen doing reverse doughies into the barrier. He takes out both race 1 and race 2 after a frenetic battle and fight through the field before obviously a quiet ending. Second half of the race for him. Roadhog P2.
We've got Big Hog. Big Hog. I've got the two confused there. Looks like Big Dog's going for his jump again.
Yep, so Roadhog was P2, but he probably will be under investigation, obviously, for what happened at the start of this race.
Murrow on his roof, sliding across the track into one of those concrete hay bales.
And he's missing his rear wing, so obviously... And Big Dog warping everywhere. But yeah, we'll go back to obviously the results. Obviously, he had Luke Joyner holding on to P3, but obviously very aggressive in his defence out of the final turn. And we've got Josh Anderson. Yeah, very good and very clean race 2 by well, certainly by the standards that was set in race 2 anyway. It was very clean. Nice solid debut for him. P4. Got the big dog in P5. He had a fantastic race up until obviously those last couple of laps. So he did drop off the back of that pack for P2 and 3, but still, nonetheless, a good result for him. Scott Murrell, after his damage, which probably would have been pretty severe, I imagine, finishing in P6. Gary Neville, P7, and Glenn Miles, P8. Those two, bit of a quiet race for both of them, but still, 7th and 8th, not a bad result. And then from there, we have our retirements. We had River Whisper, which was due to internet problems, I believe. Corey Preston, Luke Emerton, Brian Walsh, Brenton Foley, Brendan Ross, Jaden Draper, Matt Williams, and there was a couple others, but it has ticked over, so I missed it. But obviously, 2 races, 2 wins for Jamie Snow. Comfortable in qualifying, very comfortable in race 1, and then obviously had to be very, very patient in race 2 there. So he's probably the pick of driver of the day. But I think obviously race 2, Big Dog was very, very impressive too. What about, who would your, obviously you were racing in race 1, but in race 2, who would your driver of the day be for that?
Well, being his team boss and therefore owning him, I have to say Jamie Snow doing a great job coming through from the back and staying out of as much trouble as he could to take a very commanding win at the end. So I'm going to have to go with Jamie Snow.
Yes, certainly a very good point there. Obviously commanding in both races, taking very comfortable victories. But we have been...
It was more depressing in the first one.
But we have been joined by our race winner, obviously Jamie Snow. Obviously started off fantastic qualifying effort, obviously pole position, got away, obviously sort of jumbled up the start there, but you got away and then sort of eased your way in front of, or eased away from Gardner in the first race before building up a little bit of a lead. We don't know if we made a mistake or if you just were massively faster, but yeah, that first race there, very comfortable.
Yeah, it was an easier race. It feels good to actually get a decent result in this series. Finally, I haven't run this series a lot, but when I have struggled. So all I can put it down to is Paisley power.
Yes, Paisley power.
Best livery.
I will admit it is pretty good.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, but and then obviously race 2 there. Obviously you got through. I don't like to swear on air, but you got through the massive shit fight, obviously that happened at the start with a massive incident marring that, and then obviously you had a massive battle between obviously Roadhog, Joyner, Anderson, Preston and co. And then after that it was a bit of a obviously quiet finish out in front.
Race 2 was a very, very hectic start. There were a lot of incidents. I think there was points where there were people 3 wide in front of me, and I just figured all I had to do, I knew I was faster than them, so I just had to be patient, wait for people to make mistakes, and then just pick my points to pass and get that Paisley car back up the front again.
Well, it certainly looked from our point of view that you weren't really out there battling for sheep stations, so to speak, as others were, and just putting it all on the line. So you did look like you sort of didn't want even to take part in some of the battling. You were just happy just to sit back and obviously wait for those to make mistakes. And then once that did happen, obviously, and it was just you and Roadhog up front, it was probably the easiest overtake for race 2, was that one for the lead at the end there.
Yeah, look, Roadhog was actually a little bit of a challenge to get past. Like some of the other guys, it was more a case of just waiting for them to make mistakes, battling each other and send themselves off the road. But, Big Dog put up Big Dog, Roadhog put up a pretty good fight. But yeah, just managed to sneak by him. And once it got round, I was able to build a bit of a gap and finish it off from there.
But yeah, obviously 2 commanding victories. Obviously you had to be patient in race 2, so congratulations. Obviously I don't know if it's your first victory at Automobilista Australia, but regardless, congratulations, and hopefully you have a strong finish to the season.
Cheers, mate.
And we've also been joined by Brenton Foley, who he didn't look too flash in practice, had a good qualifying session, solid race 1, but race 2 didn't go your way today.
No. I was a bit greedy trying to get past a lot of people a bit early. And then I don't know the numbers of the corners, but the double right-hander, I've been finding them tricky all night. And the 2 in front of me braked a little bit earlier than I expected, so I jumped on the brakes and locked it up. And I hit the fence, but I didn't think I hit it hard enough to destroy the car, but it did. So that was race over.
Yeah, obviously, you don't want to hit, or bend the suspension or hit it in the wrong way, which obviously you did. We did see other cars hit the barrier and obviously seemed to be perfectly fine, as Jamie Snow can attest to in race 2 there. Obviously he ran wide and went on to win the race. It was just, I guess, the angle in which you hit the barrier.
Yeah, I locked him up on the grass and it just went straight. I pretty much hit it dead front on, and it was the engine that went.
But despite that, you would have lost touch, I believe, to Roadhog in the championship, but obviously that you wouldn't have lost as much, obviously, due to the fact that obviously race 1 went pretty well for you, considering obviously the weight you had, and in practice you looked like you were struggling quite a bit.
Spent practice basically seeing how old tyres would go, so I didn't even bother with a qualifying run at all. In practice, kind of hiding my pace. But race 1, I was very happy to finish 3rd after I got caught up in a few other people's incidents. So it was a good championship race.
Yeah, obviously you held on towards the end there. You did obviously tell us between races that you did suffer a bit of suspension damage in that first race. So just holding on to P3 in that first race was a bit of an effort.
Yeah, pretty much just surviving. I was losing over a second, or almost a second, through the chicane on my normal lap time because I had a massive amount of right hand down.
Well, unfortunate, obviously, that you got the damage, and unfortunate race 2, but you still managed a podium, and obviously you maintained the lead in the championship going into round 9. And
thank you.
We have been also joined by Scott Worrell. Obviously, DNF'd in race 1. Didn't look like you wanted to DNF race 2, despite obviously being caught up in that big accident at the start there. You had significant damage, obviously at the front end, and looked like your pace was severely hampered there in race 2.
Yeah, race 2. Don't know really what happened at the start there, and just cars went everywhere. I think I got in the side of one of the fucking L cars. Bit of chaos, which really damaged the right front. Average temperature per lap was about 110 degrees. I was watching Gary try and catch me right near the end, and I was pretty much praying to that front right tyre to hold on. But yeah, race 1 was a bit unfair. that barrier just decided it wanted the wheel more than the car did.
Yes, obviously, did see one or two people clip that barrier, but and even in practice we did see one or two people clip that barrier, and it is a killer, as unfortunately you found out the hard way in race 1 there.
Yeah, that's right.
And well, commiserations. Obviously, you did look like you had a bit of pace in practice and qualifying there, so a little frustrating, but hopefully things pick up in the following round.
Yeah, chase those Foley down, I reckon. Give him a bit of a run.
That's it. And well, we have time for, I guess, one more interview, and we've been joined by Cosmo. Obviously, things in race 1 didn't go too well, but race 2, you're in amongst it there.
Well, I don't know how I pulled that off. That is probably not going to happen again this whole season because I'm going to have weight now. So, yeah, I mean, race 1 was just, obviously it's my first race here in Automobilista Australia anyway. So it was obviously just trying to learn how people drive. And I was a bit careful on the first lap and just went down the order and then hit the chicane. So, yeah, to ruin my strikes. But then race 2, the whatever happened at the start happened, somehow avoided it, just made my way towards the front and ended up with 4th. And well, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen again.
Well, it remains to be seen. But well, for the middle part of that race, that you were threatening, obviously, to get up into that podium spot. But it looked like towards the end that the steam obviously fell out of the sails, and obviously it seemed like your front tyres sort of dropped off a bit.
Yeah, it was the front tires go quickly here. I mean, I think I was 25% wear at the end, so I was running it near enough the edge that it was just close to going. But I was keeping up with the second, third, and so I'm just happy to get 4th, to be honest, because I wasn't expecting that coming in. And yeah, I'm just want to say thanks for letting us race here, and I'm sure as heck going to be around for the rest of the touring car races now, I think, because that was brilliant.
Well, you certainly showed, obviously, very clean in race 2 there, and well, we hope to see you once again. And I am trying to find out, obviously, the upcoming races for Automobilista Australia. Obviously, on Thursday night, we have the Super Series from Oran Park. On Sunday, we have a slight change in the schedule with, obviously, the Supercar Enduros moving to a couple Sundays. So that means that we're moving some of the Formula 1 rounds and some of the WEC Series rounds. So on this Sunday we have the WEC Series from Silverstone. It will be the current layout, not the layout that we've used in F3 and in the Porsche Series. And on Monday night we have the Rookie Cup. I'm just trying to find which circuit it is. It is from Velo Cita. It is the club layout. So it's a very short circuit, about a minute long. So should be hopefully once again more great racing in the Rookie Cup. So the racing on Thursday night will be brought to you by Stairs and Bagsy, and obviously Nether and Bagsy on the Sunday night. So we hope you enjoyed this broadcast from obviously me, Lewis, and obviously Matt Williams in the second race, and we hope to see you guys again soon.